Kant once said that in life, technology is merely a means. The purpose of technology is to serve human well-being. So, when it comes to consumption and technology, it's not an either-or choice. Human welfare is the true goal. From the perspective of China, China is the world's largest unified market, with a population of 1.4 billion people. There is an enormous demand for basic necessities such as clothing, food, housing, and transportation. We still don't have the full capacity to meet the aspirations of 1.4 billion people for a better life. So, looking at long-term economic development, among the three main drivers of growth, consumption holds the greatest potential. As a component of capability and resilience, it will play an increasingly important role in the real development of China's economy in the future. So you will see that final consumption's contribution to GDP, as well as the role of the domestic demand market in driving and unleashing the potential of future economic development, will become more and more significant. And now, the relationship between consumption and the main players in the entire social and economic market, employment, and people's livelihoods is self-evident in its importance. So we are very confident, and I believe that everyone deserves a better life. Chinese people deserve to have better national brands of our own. Therefore, there is great potential for the future of consumption in China, and Chinese brands will also have more and more opportunities for better development. Everyone has their own choices. So, indeed, choice is more important than effort, and we can't really comment much on the choices made by our peers. All we can say is that, as a professional investment institution that has been consistently following and updating on Chinese consumption and Chinese brands, we are very confident. We are also very persistent, and we believe in the core and supporting role of Chinese consumption in China's economy. More importantly, as an institution that insists on value investing and is committed to seeing the long-term driving force and potential of China's economic development, we remain steadfast. We are absolutely convinced that Chinese consumption is a fundamental and crucial track for China's economic growth and the improvement of people's living standards in the future. If you consistently view the development of Chinese consumption from a value investing perspective, you will find that this is truly fertile ground. Of course, there are also many institutions that, due to various policy factors, short-term cyclical impacts, and an environment of insufficient effective demand and relatively weak purchasing power, are affected. Some have given up on this track, and I can only say that this is each institution's own choice. As for us, we remain committed to long-term investment and value investing. We firmly believe in the leading and supporting role of Chinese consumption in China's economy. We also believe that this is a good industry where knowledge accumulation can bring long-term returns, and in the future, we can grow stronger together with enterprises. It is a broad, long-term track with deep potential. This industry also requires people who truly understand the field, and professional institutions to bring new companies into the game. So, this is not an arbitrage track, nor is there so-called exponential growth. What it needs is for you to work diligently and steadily, to treat investment as a real business, and to manage and grow together with the enterprises, so that both sides can become better versions of themselves. Of course, I think this is a very obvious fact. There is a lot of noise in the market due to regulation, environmental fluctuations, and even cyclical effects. Some institutions may take a rather short-sighted approach to consumption. But in the long run, there is no doubt that consumption is the most promising and brightest track in China. So, during this process, we can also see that there are still institutions like Jiahua that are committed to building Chinese brands and developing Chinese consumption for the long term. We focus on essential, high-frequency, livelihood-related products that have the capabilities of basic infrastructure and can create consumer benefits and consumer surplus, products that are convenient and beneficial to the general public. I believe in China's economy, Chinese consumption, and the livelihood of the Chinese people. We need more good brands. Secondly, being able to weather different cycles is very important, which means we need to take a longer-term perspective. If we look at the fundamental and supporting role of Chinese consumption, as well as its function as a core engine for economic growth, it will become even more evident. Therefore, these kinds of opportunities require a historical perspective to capture, and they demand a very strong the strength to persevere and not give up. I believe that the importance of this industry will be increasingly recognized by more and more institutions. I think more and more institutions will start to pick it up again. Investing in the core track of consumption and supporting the rise of Chinese brands is what drives China's domestic demand. Only when the potential and resilience of China's domestic demand are fully realized does it truly become possible for the Chinese economy to maintain steady and positive growth. Moreover, boosting the domestic market's contribution to the national economy is not just a slogan. It also requires the implementation of a concrete plan for the national economy. The plan to improve national income must be consistently implemented over the long term. After all, the driving force of domestic demand essentially relies on ordinary people. It depends on the increase in per capita disposable income and purchasing power. Exactly, this national income doubling plan will need to span several decades. Only by implementing it consistently can China truly invigorate its domestic demand and consumption, and create a lasting core driving force for the economy. So this is something that requires persistent, long-term effort.